In today's session, we'll discuss types of RNA. In the last session, we discussed the transcription process in case of prokaryotes and eukaryotes. The first question arises, what is transcription? What is transcription? So, the process of synthesis of RNA from DNA is called transcription, or the process of copying genetic information from one strand of DNA into RNA is called transcription. And you already know the difference between transcription in case of prokaryotes and eukaryotes. And both are enzyme mediated process. We require an enzyme called DNA-dependent RNA polymerase enzyme. And one contrasting difference between prokaryotes and eukaryotes is, in case of prokaryotes, we required only one enzyme, that is DNA-dependent RNA polymerase enzyme, which transcribe into all the three types of RNA. Which are those three types of RNA? One is mRNA, messenger RNA. The second one is tRNA, or we call it as a soluble RNA or adapter molecule, and the third one is called ribosomal RNA or rRNA. Whereas in case of eukaryotes, we required three polymerase enzyme, RNA polymerase enzyme. RNA polymerase 1 transcribe into messenger RNA. RNA polymerase 1 enzyme which transcribe into rRNA. RNA polymerase 2 transcribe into messenger RNA. RNA polymerase 3 transcribe into tRNA. So 1, 2, 3, R, M, tRNA. So what is the role of these RNA? All these RNA which helps in protein synthesis. So all the three types of RNA which helps in protein synthesis. So let us start with the first type of RNA, that is messenger RNA. So we already discussed in the last session the process of transcription or synthesis of RNA in case of prokaryotes and eukaryotes, and it completes in three steps. One is initiation, elongation, termination. So during initiation, what happens? The RNA polymerase enzyme binds to the promoter region of transcriptional unit, where the transcription process starts along with a sigma factor, and RNA polymerase enzyme which start adding RNA nucleotides on the template strand with the help of elongation factor. When it reaches the terminator region, the RNA polymerase enzyme dissociates with the help of RHO factor or terminator factor. So after dissociation of RNA polymerase enzyme from DNA template strand, or we call it as antisense strand, non-coding strand, the nascent RNA falls off. Whereas in case of eukaryotes, normally in case of eukaryotes, we have two types of chromatin, heterochromatin and euchromatin. And you already know that heterochromatin is transcriptionally inactive, whereas euchromatin is transcriptionally active. That means heterochromatin has non-coding sequences for protein synthesis, whereas euchromatin has coding sequences for protein synthesis. So in case of eukaryotes, the RNA which is produced by the process called transcription, and that RNA, we call it as a heterogeneous RNA. It's unstable RNA. unstable RNA. And that unstable heterogeneous nuclear RNA is subjected into three processes or three modification. One is splicing, second one is capping, and third one is tailing. So what is splicing? So introns are removed from the primary transcript. From the primary transcript, introns are removed and exons are joined in a definite order. The question arises, how these introns are removed from the primary transcript? These introns are removed with the help of endonucleases. Nucleases are the enzyme which digest DNA. Or nucleic acids. Nucleic acid. There are two types: endo, inside; exo, outside. So endonucleases which remove the introns, and soon after removing the introns, the exons are joined in a definite order with the help of DNA ligase or ligase enzyme. Ligase enzyme, not DNA ligase, only ligase enzyme. And this process we call it as a splicing. So after splicing, that heterogeneous RNA is unstable and it is subjected to further two more processes. One is capping, another one tailing. After capping and tailing, the unstable heterogeneous RNA is converted into mRNA, or non-functional RNA is converted into functional RNA. The question arises, what is capping and what is tailing? The capping is done 5' end of heterogeneous RNA, where methyl guanosine triphosphate is added at 5' end of heterogeneous RNA. Is called capping. And tailing, 3' end of heterogeneous RNA, polyadenylate residues are added. So as a result of this, unstable heterogeneous RNA is converted into mRNA. When you look at the structure of mRNA, so when you talk about mRNA, it is a single stranded RNA which forms 5% of total RNAs. And it's a messenger RNA. Why it is called as a messenger RNA? Because it brings genetic information or coded information from DNA for the sequence of amino acids in the polypeptides that are synthesized in the ribosomes. In simple term, the messenger RNA brings the genetic information from DNA to ribosome for protein synthesis. The mRNA has 6 regions. 1, cap, 5' end, 3' end, we have a tail, poly A tail. So in between we have a promoter region, terminator region, and untranslated region we call it as a non-coding region. 2 untranslated regions. One we call it as a non-coding region 1, another one is non-coding region 2. How these regions are arranged? The first we find cap, then we find non-coding region, initiator codon, coding region. So coding region is nothing but it consists of structural genes. And you already know that in case of prokaryotes, the structural genes are polycystonic. That means they synthesize more than one polypeptide, whereas in case of eukaryotes, the structural genes in the transcriptional unit which synthesize only one polypeptide, hence it is called monocystonic. Structural genes, or the segment of DNA that codes for protein, and that is we called as a cystron. In case of prokaryotes, it is polycystonic. In case of eukaryotes, you find monocystonic. So let us see the structure of functional eukaryotic mRNA. It has 5' end, cap. So methyl guanosine triphosphate is present at 5' end of heterogeneous RNA, mRNA. Then untranslated region followed by untranslated region 1, non-coding region 1. Okay. Then it is followed by initiator codon. So codon is a set of a group of nucleotides which are present on the mRNA. So initiator codon, which initiates protein synthesis, terminator codons, which stops protein synthesis. Always you remember the initiator codon is AUG, where the translation process starts. So untranslated region is followed by initiator codon. Then it consists of then AUG, initiator codon, is followed by coding region. Then you find 3' end we have a terminator codons, terminator region. Normally, there are 3 terminator codons. I told you, protein synthesis start agಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ we required AUG. Protein synthesis stop agಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ we required terminator codons. Usually there are 3 terminator codons. One is UAA, Uttam Ala Ala. One, not Uttam means uracil, adenine. Then UAG, uracil, adenine, guanine, Uttam Ala Gela. And the third one is uracil, guanine and adenine, Uttam Gela Ala. So these are the 3 terminator codons, UAA, UAG, UGA, where the protein synthesis stops. Then it is followed by the second region, the untranslated region 2. Untranslated region 2. This is untranslated region 2. So one which is situated at 5' end of mRNA, the second non-coding region situated at 3' end of RNA. To come back to the functions. Soon after transcription, the mRNA, stable mRNA, is transported from nucleus to the cytoplasm. And this transported mRNA, which carries information from DNA to cytoplasm for protein synthesis. The coded information in mRNA is converted into proteins. So mRNA is a template that is functional and information. So this is about the mRNA. Next we will move on to the second type of RNA, that is transfer RNA, or we call it as a soluble RNA or adapter molecule. The transfer RNA is commonly called soluble RNA. The question arises, why it is called as a soluble RNA? Because it is soluble in 1M NaCl, hence it is called soluble RNA. And why it is called as a transfer RNA? Because it helps in the transfer of amino acids for protein synthesis, or it helps in transport of amino acid to the site of protein synthesis. The question arises, where the protein synthesis takes place? Protein synthesis takes place on mRNA. The information which is present on the mRNA, that information, is required for protein synthesis. For protein synthesis, we required amino acid. Those amino acids are transported, by the tRNA. So the tRNA, which forms the 15% of total RNA, and it is the smallest RNA with with 70 to 85 nucleotides, and these nucleotides which are folded over itself due to nitrogen bases, and that results in two-dimensional structure or three-dimensional structure. The two-dimensional structure was given by Robert Hawley, it is commonly known as Clover Leaf model of tRNA, and Klug proposed a three-dimensional structure of soluble RNA. So commonly known structure is a Clover Leaf model of tRNA. This is clover leaf model of tRNA. Okay, the resembles a leaf of clover. Trifolium. When look at the structure of tRNA, so normally the tRNA, okay, the nucleotides of tRNA are folded into arms, folded in various ways to form arms and loops. Normally you find okay, arm is a stem, and okay, it has an arm and a loop. So loop, the stem has paired bases, whereas the loop has unpaired bases. Normally we have four arms: amino acid acceptor arm, DHU arm, anticodon arm, pseudouridine arm. Let us discuss one by one. So tRNA also read from 5' 3' direction. Okay, 5' 3' direction. So clover leaf model has four such arms. One is amino acid arm, or we call it as an acceptor arm. The second one is called DHU arm, or dihydrouridine arm. The third one is called anticodon arm, and the fourth one is called pseudouridine arm. So apart from these four arms, one vestigial arm which is situated 3' end of tRNA. And look at here. So the tRNA runs in 5' 3' direction. It runs in 5' 3' direction. Let us start with the first arm, that is amino acid arm or acceptor arm. So acceptor arm, okay, is a binding site, amino acid binding site. Okay, so you already know that the tRNA runs in 5' 3' direction. In 3' end, we have a free hydroxyl group. That free hydroxyl group, okay, forms the binding site for amino acid. So it has 7 base pairs. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 base pairs, and okay, 3 unextended unpaired nucleotides. They are present at 5' end, okay, sorry, 3' end of tRNA. So 3 unpaired bases nucleotides are CCA with a free 3 hydroxyl group where the amino acid binds. CCA. Then second one is dihydrouridine arm. So again, it has an arm and a loop. So arm has 4 base pairs, whereas loop has 10 unpaired nucleotides. So what is the significance? I told you, acceptor arm is a binding site for amino acid. What about DHU arm? It's a binding site for tRNA synthetase enzyme during protein synthesis. We'll discuss what is the role of tRNA synthetase in the next classes, okay, in the next session. Is that clear? It is a mean for binding, okay, it's a binding site for tRNA synthetase enzyme during protein synthesis. Next one, the anticodon arm. Okay, this site also called as a codon recognition site. Codons are present on mRNA. Okay, mRNA. Okay, anticodons are situated on tRNA, and they are complementary to each other. For example, mRNA has AUG, initiator codon. So tRNA has anticodons, adenine base pairs with uracil. Okay, uracil base pairs with adenine. Okay, uracil. So in the mRNA we have adenine, uracil, and guanine. Adenine base pairs with uracil. Okay, uracil base pairs with adenine, and guanine base pairs with cytosine. Is that right? So this is one. Then it has 5 base pairs and 7 unpaired nucleotides. Out of 7, okay, 3 forms the anticodon. No doc kan helte or anticodon. So anticodons binds to the cognate basis of mRNA during protein synthesis. And last one, pseudouridine arm. Pseudouridine arm. So pseudouridine arm has 5 base pairs and loop has 7 unpaired nucleotides. Okay. This arm is meant for attachment of ribosome during protein synthesis. So you remember, okay, dihydrouridine arm, which helps in binding site for tRNA synthetase enzyme, whereas pseudouridine arm, okay, helps in attachment of ribosome during protein synthesis. The loop and unpaired bases of tRNA results of the presence of unusual bases. Come back to the functions. Okay, so what is the function? Okay, so already I told you, okay, the transfer RNA function is it helps in the transport of transport of amino acid to the site of protein synthesis. So this is on the mRNA protein synthesis takes place, and the transfer RNA brings cognate tRNA or loaded with the amino acid to the site of protein synthesis. Okay, so this is about the tRNA. Next we'll move on to the ribosomal RNA. So ribosomal RNA, it's the largest RNA, most abundant RNA, which forms 70 to 80% of RNA in the cells. Okay, and it occurs in 2 subunits, larger subunit and smaller subunit, and it has, okay, there are 4 types of RNA based on sedimentation in case of eukaryotes. The function, okay, so the main function of ribosome, okay, so ribosome, which helps in, okay, protein synthesis. The RNA which forms the structural component of ribosomal RNA forms the structural component of ribosome. The 5S RNA provides the binding site of tRNA, and 23S sedimentation RNA act as a ribozyme in prokaryotes that helps in polypeptide synthesis. Okay, so this completes the types of RNA. In the next session, we'll discuss genetic code. Thank you.